We have multiple fires around the world that are pushing us closer and closer to the brink of, war, World War III, nuclear catastrophe. Those are things that I would be honored to be in a position to actually help solve these problems and get us back to where we need to be.
Do you think voting for Republicans is the way to solve that? Because I don't think I agree with that, frankly.
That was former Democrat and combat veteran Tulsi Gabbard on the Drinking Bros podcast, discussing how Democrats and establishment politicians are intent on destroying everything they touch. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and today we're going to take a few minutes to break down an appearance Tulsi Gabbard recently did where she surprised the host by her candid response about the current state of the country. Now, I know a lot of you love her, and there's been recent talk about her becoming Trump's VP, so I thought it'd be interesting to hear her take on some current events.
I think that, I know that the Democratic Party, President Biden, President Harris, there's a lot of questions. Is there someone going to be switched out? It doesn't really matter whether it's President Biden or someone else, because we've seen how the Democrat elite across the board are intent on holding on to power and willing to destroy our country in the process. So, whoever people want to vote for, they can vote for, but understand and know that to be true. And there are so many pieces of evidence that prove that. I'm not saying, there are problems in the Republican Party as well.
Once again, everything she's saying here is 100% correct. The leaders of the Democrat Party are just interchangeable kabuki masks worn by the swamp at this point. Biden proves it, and you may have a few shills and political hacks like Bill Maher who will argue that he's a different person behind closed doors and actually formulating and making all these policy decisions, but we know that's not true. Anyone with half a brain knows that's not true. Sure, he's signing off on these things, but his interest only seems to be in maintaining and keeping power for him and his party. It's the swamp or deep state or whatever you want to call it that establishment media told us didn't exist, then suddenly admitted did exist, and apparently it was a good thing.
You look at the uniparty in Washington. The uniparty in Washington, made up of both Democrats and Republicans, are eager to go to war. You look at this whole TikTok bill that was just fast-tracked through the House and is sitting before the Senate. That was a huge majority vote between Democrats and Republicans in the House. And it is a fundamentally anti-freedom bill, something Ron Paul recently said was the most egregious attack on civil liberties and freedom since the Patriot Act on 9/11. So this is not to say, one party evil, one party good. It is a statement of fact that the party in power in the White House is destroying our country and our freedom. And at a minimum, we got to stop the bleeding and begin to start to rebuild by electing the right people in office in both parties.
Her comments here in the Uniparty are pretty on point too. I mean, there are a lot of Republicans who are basically just power-hungry career politicians who hold the same policy positions as liberals from 5 years ago. We need to get those people out as soon as possible and vote in people who can take our foot off the gas pedal and steer us in a new direction. Now, it's important to note that Gabbard was a former lifelong Democrat and still holds positions on some key social issues that don't necessarily align with most conservatives. However, I think she's starting to come around on a few of them, and she was maligned by the left for not fitting the basic cookie-cutter mold that makes Democrats so interchangeable. I mean, just look at that video I did where she was on The View because they were pushing a Hillary Clinton narrative that she was a Russian asset. So I think it's worth keeping an eye on her political career, especially when she's on point with broad issues like she discussed in this interview. But let me know what you think. How do you feel about what Tulsi Gabbard said? Are things really as bleak as she made them out to be? Or is politics just a dirty game? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Boy!